Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another episode of the Complete Marvel Rivals Guide. My name is Kearless, and if you don't know me already, I am a two-time Peak Eternity player and continue to play this game to this very day. It's nice to meet you. This is the Complete Marvel Rivals Guide. It is a series where I will be posting every single day going over high-level concepts that you should be utilizing in your own games if you want to improve. My overall goal with this series is to help a ton of people to achieve their peak ranks. And without any further ado, let's get into it. On screen now, I'm going to put up the complete lesson guide, so if you guys ever wanted to choose a lesson that you're not super comfortable on, I'm going to put that on screen now so you can go ahead and pick one. So throughout this series, we've talked about information gathering, threat mapping, ultimates, cooldowns, target priority, and fight planning, but you aren't the only person gathering that information. Your entire team is seeing different parts of the fight. Communication allows you to combine that information with the rest of your team. So 6 players can see more than one player ever could, but only if they're actually sharing what that information that they see. So if you don't know what communication is, good communication is short, relevant, and actionable. Your teammates don't need a speech, they just need information that helps them make their decisions very quick and easy. And there's a difference between saying information versus action callouts, and the communication is kind of in between these two categories. So information is where you're telling your teammates something that they may not know. So like, okay, the Spider-Man is behind you, or the Luna doesn't have her freeze, or the Punisher's on high ground, or the Groot has his ult. So you're providing information to your team, whereas action is you're telling the team what you want them to do. So you can say, guys, let's all push Luna. Guys, back up. Guys, let's wait for 5 seconds. Dive in 3 seconds, or I'm ulting. These help coordinate multiple people around one decision, and both are super important. And I want you to also keep your callouts short. So I'm going to just give you 2 examples. I want you to compare them. So first guy says, guys, I think their Spider-Man might be coming behind us, so our supports should probably be careful, versus just saying Spider-Man behind. See, it's the same information, but way less noise. And during a fight, your teammates are already processing a ton of information. You know, remember the mental stack that we talked about in a previous episode. Your communication shouldn't make their mental stack worse. So say enough to help, but not enough to distract. I also want you to make your callout super specific. So instead of saying, oh, he is low, that could lead into many different questions like who, where, or like a better option could be the Luna is 1 on the back left side of the map, or just say Luna 1 back left. Now your teammate knows who, their status, and their location, and that's immediately actionable. You know, a reasonable, easy format that you should go off of is like the target, the information, and location. So a couple of examples are Punisher low on high ground, Luna no escape, back right, Spider-Man behind us. That is just simple and easy for everyone to understand. And I want you to also think about the communicating important cooldowns. This connects directly back to cooldown economy that we talked about earlier. So if you see the Luna use her freeze, now you know she's more vulnerable than she was before, but your teammates might not. So you want to call it. You can say Luna no freeze, or Bucky no hook. So now 5 other players have that information that you originally had, and that's one of the biggest benefits of communication. Information gathered by one player can become information used by the entire team. You should also be communicating your intentions, but you can also do this by tone. So this is something that players often forget, and don't only tell teammates what the enemy is doing, but tell them what you're about to do. So if you're playing Venom, you can say, I'm diving Luna. Now your Spider-Man knows when to follow. If you're using an ultimate, say, I'm ulting next fight. Now your teammates know they may not need to spend theirs. Communication creates a ton of coordination with your team. It's also super important for you to count down your important plays. So like for coordinating engagements, you can say diving Luna in 3, 2, 1. That tiny little countdown can completely change the play. And without the communication, the Venom can dive, and then 2 seconds later, the Spider-Man can dive, and then another teammate follows. Enemies can handle threats individually, but with communication and everyone hitting simultaneously, now the enemy has to solve multiple problems at once. And this connects directly back to attention management, where the enemy can't think about all these things at once. I also want to say that over-communication isn't automatically better. So imagine someone is constantly saying, Punisher main, Groot main, Psylocke main, the Hela main, I'm reloading, I'm moving left, Venom took 50 damage, Luna healed. Eventually, your teammates stop listening and they learn to zone you out. The important information gets buried under the useless information. So if everything is important, nothing sounds important to your team, so you're actually making it worse for your team. There's also a priority of your communication, and I'm going to give you a simple little hierarchy here. So there's the high priority, and that's the immediate threats that are vulnerable targets. They're the important cooldowns that are getting used, the ultimates, the engage and retreat calls, and then the missing flankers. Those are all high priority. Those are the ones that you want to dedicate most of your time calling out. And then there's also the lower priority, and those lower priority things can be minor damage, things everyone can clearly see, the information that doesn't change anyone's decision. Those you don't really need to call out. So you should be asking yourself, does my team even really need to know this? And if not, you probably don't even need to say it at all. And I also want to mention that tone matters so much, and that communication isn't just, Spider-Man, what are you doing? Why didn't you heal me? Tank switch. That doesn't help the next fight. If someone made a terrible mistake, that mistake has already happened. So give information about what needs to happen instead of, why didn't we kill Luna? Let's say, like, it more in an upbeat way and say, let's focus the Luna next fight. So it's the same problem, but it's much more useful communication. I want to talk about shot calling now, and I want to make sure that I'm mentioning that shot calling doesn't mean controlling everything that your teammates do. A good shot caller will simplify the decisions, like saying examples of like wait for Venom, or push left side, or use the ults next fight, or back up for the fights that are lost, or focus the Luna. You know, you're giving your team one clear direction. Even an imperfect coordinated plan can sometimes be better than 6 players executing their own perfect decisions. And communication can replace missing information. So think back to information gathering. You can't see everything, but your teammates can see the things that you can't. And your strategist sees Spider-Man behind, your DPS sees Luna use her escape, and your Vanguard sees Groot use a defensive cooldown. But through communication, now everybody knows everything that's happening. And that's why coordinated teams feel completely different from solo queue competitive games. So now I'm going to go over a bad example of communication. So you see Psylocke flanking and you don't say anything. She eliminates your strategist and then you say, I knew she was there. That information had value before the information, but not after. So the information, now that it's expired, it doesn't have any value. So now I'm going to give an example of good communication. So you see the Psylocke entering the flank and immediately you say Psylocke right flank, and your strategist move closer to the team, the Psylocke engages, and now everybody turns and she gets nothing. You didn't out aim her, you just gave your team information early enough to actually use it. It's super smart to keep your communication future focused, and this is kind of one of my favorite rules for this lesson. So communication is... I also want to make sure that you guys keep your communication future focused. This is kind of one of my favorite rules for this lesson, is communicate what helps the next 5 seconds, not what went wrong in the last 5 seconds. So the fight moves on way too quickly to argue about the past. Instead, you should focus on what's happening, what happens next, and what does my team actually need to know. So now we're going to go over the homework, and for your next 5 games, I want you to focus on your communication. I want you to make it short, relevant, and actionable, and try using the format target, information, and then location. So like you could say Luna low on the left side, or Psylocke flanking on the right side. And pay attention to whether your callouts actually help your teammates make the decisions, or if you're spreading useless information. So at this point, we've covered almost every major concept you need to become a better player. But knowing all of this doesn't actually matter if you don't practice it correctly. So in lesson 29, we're putting together everything that we've talked about together and learning how to practice like a pro. Alright guys, you know the gist. This is going to be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to have a little gameplay on screen for you. I'm almost done with this series. Thank you guys for giving the support on this. It's been a lot of work. A lot of these videos take a while, like 2 to 3 hours-ish on each of them. I'm finishing all these videos today. I hope the YouTube algorithm doesn't like mess you guys up with that, because I don't know if I post multiple times a day, it's going to mess you guys up, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.